Talking about social networking, like you just mentioned there, what I know you get asked all the time, as you said earlier, about what's the next big thing on the web. So if I can ask you a slight deviation of that, what's the next big thing in social networking? I mean, you mentioned Facebook. Obviously, it's now opening itself up through Facebook Connect, presumably. But is there any other trends you're seeing within social networking?
Well, I guess one of the things that always attracted me to social networking, well, that made me so excited early on, was that if you take a social network, you can add pretty much any product you think of and plug it into a social network. And that's not really true for any other type of internet business. So you can, I'm trying to think of some of the things that Facebook has started doing recently. I mean, games, social gaming plugged in and became this huge industry in its own right. And Facebook, they were a bit slow off the mark, but now they're sort of starting to say, hey, we want a percentage of the activity going on there. And I think they're talking about lending, peer-to-peer lending. I mean, well, that fits in. And now they're into financial services. So you take any sort of area you like and you can kind of drop it in. So, social networks can become, the social network itself can become this middleman for all these other businesses. And Facebook Connect has been very successful. I mean, the types of sites that use Connect, you would never imagine. You never think of them as a social network in their own right, but they plug into Connect and suddenly it actually makes quite a lot of sense having your friend network in the context of something that you would never think of, like gambling, which is obviously not very popular in the US, but or not very allowed in the US. Gambling, peer-to-peer gambling is great fun and fits into a social network. So that's the kind of exciting thing about being the network owner, is that you can drop anything you like in, but you have to be, you have to be a big network, and that's the challenge, is getting that big network. So I think that's the ultimate value of it. And people criticize Facebook for saying they're not making enough money. I mean, they're actually making reasonably decent money now. But I think their focus has been, let's not make money in the short term, let's just focus on building the network, because the value is there in the long term.
Yeah. So, because a lot of publishers, I think, are actually trying to create their own social network as opposed to, I mean, going into the Connect thing. Would you suggest that that's not the right move for publishers and CEOs, that not everybody needs their own social network? I
think you can create a certain element of community on a site. You're not really going to create any sort of social network that competes with Twitter or Facebook. So I think certainly if you're a publisher of content, it's a lot easier to kind of leverage existing social networks and allow your content to spread throughout them.
Michael, just going back, I think you mentioned about gaming and Bebo being obviously a young demographic. Would you have thought that a gaming company would be good to have acquired Bebo then? Surely that would
It could have been. I kind of wonder whether Zynga would at one point, because it seemed to be a kind of good fit. That was when they were going through their marital troubles with Facebook. But the problem is then they're kind of conflicted, and Facebook probably wouldn't want to talk with them because they were a network owner as well. So I don't know, maybe it would have been a funny fit, but I think there's I think it's a good opportunity. Bebo, monetization wise, is certainly the gaming channel.
Absolutely. Talking about Facebook, Mark Zuckerberg, as you alluded to earlier, on July 21st, 2010, mentioned that Facebook now has 500 million users, and 500 million is not a bad number. What do you think Facebook will look like in 3 to 5 years' time? I mean, do you think to be competitive, social networks need to do more than just social networking?
It's really hard to define what social networking even is. I mean, what is it? Communication between friends. I think they'll do a lot more than social networking, but it will all be within a social network. I mean, as I was mentioning, you can plug anything you like into it. And I think they'll plug more and more things into it, or allow other people to plug into it. And insert themselves as kind of a middleman, so they take a percentage of anything that's going on. So I think they're going to evolve probably a lot in that direction. But yeah, it's fun. I mean, you can just, the number of ideas for things we thought of doing at Bebo was just unlimited. It's the exciting thing. There's just so many things you can tag on to a social network once you've got the network.
Absolutely. As you said, it's fun being the network owner. What about sort of I know Facebook is looking at, for example, its own currency, virtual currencies. Do you think the banking route is going to be somewhere that peer-to-peer lending, that's going to be a significant thing within social networks?
It could be. I mean, the currency thing, I think they're live with Facebook credits and doing it and trying to get all the games to switch over to it. I mean, the kind of holy grail of micro payments on the internet, which was sort of done in the Web 1.0 days, never really materialized. And I think within the context of social networking, it can. So I think them being, having an account and having money in an account on Facebook and then using it to transact elsewhere on the web, certainly with Facebook Connect sites is a very real opportunity for them.
Yeah. As you said, they're trying the microcredits. One thing that I've noticed in doing the research on you today is that you're a big believer in innovating just trial and error. It doesn't seem like you're afraid of trial and error, beta testing in all the environments you're in.
Right.
Is that
Yeah,
accurate?
it's fun to try stuff. It's embarrassing if you put a big spotlight on it and try it and then it fails. So.
Or a few £100 million behind it.
Yeah, I prefer to kind of try things and not make a big fanfare about things, and then if it works, then you kind of focus on it.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, trying stuff out is one of the most fun things to do.
Absolutely.
Because when it works, it's obviously very exciting.
So, last question: what's next for you, Michael? Apart from questions from the floor.
Next for us, we're very focused on Monkey Inferno in the US and Pro Founders Capital in the UK.
Yeah.
They're kind of the two main things. We've done various other things. We're actually opening a private members club in San Francisco in about a year and a half, kind of Soho House equivalent. That's kind of a real world social network.
Fun.
So that's kind of fun. And I've been quite heavily involved with just one charity, Charity Water in New York, in terms of donating money, but more importantly, building their website, helping them build their website, My Charity Water, which is a peer-to-peer fundraising network, which has been pretty successful so far, but continuing to work on it. So that's been quite enjoyable. I took my daughter to Ethiopia with the charity, who's now was 10 years old last year. That was kind of pretty fun. So it's kind of doing various other things, but trying to pursue everything that we enjoy doing.
Yeah.
So all the startups we do are startups that we like doing. Everyone we work with are people we like working with. So, someone said to me when a few years ago, said, if you don't enjoy the process, the journey, there's no point doing something. And that kind of really resonated as being true. So now everything I do is, because it's so often you plan to do things and you're doing it because you want the end goal.
Right.
But the end goal is kind of a momentary thing, but the journey getting there can be years. So if you don't enjoy that process, there's no point doing it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so I kind of take that in everything I do and make sure that I enjoy what I'm doing and who I'm with.